So it has been for a long time now. I think first time I came to Indonesia was in 2010, the end of December 2010. So that's 11 years ago. I've been living in Indonesia until the Olympics in Rio in 2016. After that, I traveled back and forth between Holland and Indonesia. And this year I took up because more like a consultancy job, like an advisor, a consultant, and worked in Holland as well. And now I'm back full time with the Indonesian team because it's a big year, of course, with SEA Games and Asian Games in 1 year. Well, I think the thing I like the most is that when I first came here 10 years ago, it was quite amateuristic. So we had some boats, we had some ergs, like the rowing machines on land, and we had some results. We were like fighting for a third, fourth place in Southeast Asia, which was okay. And what I really think is quite impressive is that we managed to progress every year. So like we've been consistently being the first country in SEA Games in rowing over the last 4 SEA Games, always top the medal tally. And I think we managed to keep improving ourselves. You can't see where I am now, but we have this quite impressive training center now. If you see where we came, where we started, and where we are now, with good equipment, good boats, and I think the level of our athletes is impressive now. At last Asian Games, we even won gold medals. So I think it's the most impressive thing. I think is the improvement, the year by year improvement, and it doesn't seem like it's going to stop. It's just we just keep on improving, and well, that's of course the reason why I'm still here, because I still feel like there's an added value, and still feel like the team and I have a really nice connection, and we really we're just moving up. We're still getting better, and yeah, I think that's the key thing of this team. We keep improving ourselves. Well, of course, I think we have 2 big goals for Indonesian rowing. I think the most important one is that we can be the best in Southeast Asia. Of course, we have to make sure that we keep improving in Asia. And the next step, of course, is on the world level, which of course sounds quite far away. I don't think that rowing in Indonesia, we're a long way now from being at the top in the world, but as long as we keep progressing, I think we can manage. I mean, we are a really big country. We have enough support from the government to improve the professionalism of this center and of the training facilities. So what we need to do is improve, especially because in last years in rowing you have like these 2 weight categories, like light weights and open weights. And of course, especially lightweights in Southeast Asia have always been quite impressive. But on the international level, on the world level, lightweight rowing is going to be it's getting less and less. Next Olympics is the last time you can qualify a lightweight event. So we need to make sure that we transform ourselves from a lightweight, really successful lightweight rowing federation to have successes in the open weight category. I think it's possible. There are big people in Indonesia. There are a lot of people, so some of them are quite big. And I see the improvement here in the team. You see the boys and the girls getting bigger, getting stronger, more muscles. Yeah, but that's something, if we want to attack the other countries in the world, we need to make sure that we make this transition from a lightweight team with athletes around 70 kilos to a heavyweight team with athletes around 80 to 90 plus kilos. So yeah, that's a transformation we need to do in the next decade. Well, I mean, in the end, it depends. I must say that like the focus of the government now to put rowing as one of the key sports. Of course, it helps so much. So I think that's a really important step. But of course, in the end, what we need is athletes. We need bigger, better athletes, and we need a system in all of Indonesia that more people come in contact with rowing and think, hey, I'm a big guy, I'm a big girl. Maybe basketball isn't my thing. If I got an injury and I have to try out rowing. Yeah, if we get this transition that more people go into rowing, get into rowing, I think everything is possible. We're with so many people here in Indonesia, but I mean, of course, it's going to take a time. I mean, I hope one day Indonesia can host the Olympics, and if Indonesia hosts the Olympics, better we have some crews that can be competitive. Well, I think like the decision of the government to make rowing a focus sport in Indonesia, of course, is a real compliment of our achievements. I think we really showed that we can perform consistently at a high level. So we can perform, and what you see is that the government supports it, and so the budget goes up, the possibilities, the facilities go up. So that's really good. Of course, on the other hand, I must say that it is still quite difficult to work with the financial system we have in Indonesia and the ambitions we have. Like, I think our budget is cleared next week. So like next week we have SEA Games in 2 months. So that's still the system, the financial system in Indonesia. It's not really a normal Olympic sport would have like this 4-year cycle, having budgets for 4 years. And for us, every year it's like a struggle. And it's like, yeah, I think if we really want to get closer to the world performance level, we also need to make sure that our budgeting system is up to that level. I think the biggest challenge, I think for me, the biggest challenge is that women don't like rowing. I think in the end, because if you see what we've done with the men here in Indonesia rowing, it's impressive. And we got gold medals in Asia Games. We got the first international medal at a world championship with Indonesian men. So the level of men and the intensity of training is impressive. But to get women interested, I think the women, they lag behind. And so it's with rowing, it's always this fight between Indonesia and Vietnam most of the time. And we got the best men, and Vietnam has really good women. And that's a situation I cannot accept. So we need to improve the level of rowing at from our female athletes. But it's difficult. It's difficult in Indonesia. Girls don't. Of course, rowing is an outdoor sport. There's sun, there's sweat. There's going to be like the skin color of the skin is getting darker, and those are things that it's quite difficult for female athletes to get them interested in rowing, which is a shame, because I think that if we can make this step, rowing is a intense sport, but it's also one that's really successful. And we've been, if I was an Indonesian citizen, and I would get straight into rowing, because the chances of traveling the world, meeting people, winning, getting bonuses, it's like a life-changing. Yeah, if more female athletes at high school would think, hey, rowing, that's going to be my sport, that will be one of my dreams that should still, I hope it will happen in the next decade. But of course, we are quite lucky that we can. There's quite a lot of people rowing. Of course, with PON, there's always at province level. There's quite an investment in rowing, especially like Jabar teams, Sulawesi teams, Ambon teams. I think there's really a lot of people, trying to find new athletes for their pond, and that's the how do you say? Those are the athletes we look at. So every year we invite new athletes, we give them a chance, and we get this dynamic of getting new athletes in, seeing who has talent, and then transferring them to the national team. If you saw the crew that qualifies for the Olympics last time, that was a girl only 16 years old. I mean, that's just a new talent for the Asian Games, SEA Games crews. There are new talents coming to us every year, but of course we should be able to improve this. I mean, it's especially like people who are doing basketball and volleyball and maybe just are not going to make the top level in Indonesia. They should try, or maybe I should transfer to rowing because I'm a tall, I'm big, I'm strong, and I want to be in sports. I think that there's still a lot of work to gain. There are so many people in Indonesia. There should be more big people, strong people that really want to work out. I think if you look here in rowing, I think it's a low impact sport. So we have some injuries, of course, because we train hard, we train a lot. But if you see that most of my athletes, they can be in rowing at national team level for 10 to 15 years, which is quite a long time. And if you think that we have SEA Games, you win SEA Games every 2 years, it's quite a good career move, I think, to choose rowing as your sport. I think it's a long-term investment, but you can be successful for quite a long time. I think until you're like 34, 35, then maybe it's you're getting a bit old, and you can start as young as 15, 16 as a national team rower. So I think it's a smart move. You don't get injured and you win a lot. So good. Row, everybody come here and row. Well, I don't think there's a problem. I think the IOC just changes the rules. So they change the rules, and then we have to adapt to the new rules. So like in Rio Olympics, there was this rule that you can qualify a men's crew and a women's crew, and they just canceled that rule and said no. In Tokyo Olympics, you have to choose. It's men, or you have a man or a women's boat. So that's just, we have to adapt to those kind of situations. I mean, if they change the rules, then it might be different. But I think for us, being at the Olympics is something you'll never forget. Of course, it's so big and so impressive to be there. But on the other hand, we are not really there yet. So like Olympics is quite simple. First, you have to be there to watch what's happening. Then you have to compete for at the highest level, and then you can win. So we are still at this point where you come and you see, but you're not really at the level you need to be. So it's step by step. We rule at SEA Games. We are really competitive at Asia Games, and our next step is to be competitive at the Olympics. That's a good question. I think, look, in the end, you just need some crazy people and put them together. So like, I've been here, so I'm for 10 years, which makes me the longest staying foreign coach in Indonesia in any sport, I think, like a foreign coach. And because I love it, and I love to be here, and we work so hard every day here, and we spend so many hours, and we try to be innovative, and we try to see what's happening in the world and rowing and technique and physical development, and we're taking this to Indonesia. And I think the success in the end is that we are so innovative. So sometimes the electricity goes down. Sometimes we don't get our visa in time. Sometimes there's no budget yet. but we still manage, me and also the head of Potsy rowing and also the rowers. We are just every day, we just, okay, there's a new problem. There's always a new problem. And then we fix it. We just fix it. And I think what I really like about, from my point of view, is we just have fun. I think and we train hard. That's not always fun to train that hard, but I see like we have fun and we really enjoy the process. And with the process comes the results. So I see all these athletes here, and every year their motorbikes and their cars are just a little bit nicer and bigger. And the first time we went to Europe for racing, we had this really shy athletes sitting in the back of the venue where we raced. And now when we get there, they know where they have to go. They stand up tall, they're big, and they're not letting anybody else win. So they know we're good now. And watch out for Indonesia. And that's just, I think that progress and that development in our attitude and in the athletes, in the way our athletes are out there, like they're not shy anymore. They don't come to Europe to race just to be a part of the racing. They come to win. And that's just something that really makes me happy, and that's, I think, what makes us really successful. Nah, they don't. No, I don't think I'm a. Well, I am a super strict. Look, I know what you have to do to win. Yeah, so I know what you have to do, and I try to not tell my athletes what to do. I try my athletes to understand why we are doing it and why you have to do it. And of course, I've been very lucky, because first when I came here, they thought, this guy is crazy. We can't train this hard. We can't train this much. But then we won. And every time we see our improvement, every time we say, hey, we won again. Hey, we won at the World Championship. Hey, we won Asia Games. And the athletes now, maybe they think I'm strict, maybe they think I make them train hard, but they also know that I know what we're doing and they see the improvement. So I think that's something that, of course, I can be really strict and still have fun with them. Yeah, we can have a really nice atmosphere here and still train as hard as we do. Well, I think that every coach should make himself abundant. They call it abundant. So when I came here, there was nothing. There was no knowledge. There was no system. We just had coaches coming there 3 months before SEA Games, and then we had some athletes together, and then we didn't win. And now we have this system where also coaches come back. We train throughout the whole year, and the improvement in our athletes, you also see the improvements in our coaches. So like the last few years with Corona has been so difficult. Like I have almost not been able to come to Indonesia because of the travel ban. Of course, we couldn't travel, and we had sessions on internet, but in the end, the Indonesian coaches had to do the work. So we qualified for the Tokyo Olympics, and I didn't even go, because I said, no, let the national team, the Indonesian coaches go, because they've done all the work. I've helped them, but they've done the work. And to see the level of training, of professionalism here when I'm not here, of course, it makes me a proud coach. Like they can do it without me as well. Of course, now I'm here, it helps. You see this, like we can get this new enthusiasm and new, I really see that there's energy, the energy is back. But I'm so proud of our head coaches, our national team coaches from Indonesia, who worked so hard for the last years when I wasn't there all the time. Well, I mean, for me, the goals are quite clear. For SEA Games, we need to top the medal tally, and I've never been second, so I'm not going to start now. We have to be first and we have to beat Vietnam, which is going to be difficult because it's in Vietnam. So they'll race us real. We're going to have some real tough races with them because they have, of course, they have the same goal as us, and it's nice. It's nice to have this arch enemy, and we have to be smart. We have to train hard. We have to race every race and try to get as much medals as we can, so we can, well, at least one more than Vietnam, so we can top the medal tally. Of course, Asia Games. Last time Asia Games was in Jakarta and Palembang, which of course gave us an edge. It gave us an edge in the quality of racing, and we used it because we got gold, silver medals, bronze medals. So I think we came in second after China, or third in the medal tally. Of course, this time it's going to be in China. So the China team is going to give us some real good racing, and we're going to be ready for it. So, like, of course, my first goal is to win a gold medal in Asia Games again. But of course, this year it's going to be even more difficult than last time. But I want to be, so maybe China is going to beat us. That's okay, but we're going to make it real difficult for them. And I want, in every race where we put a crew, we need to make sure that they're afraid of Indonesia. So, and if they're afraid of Indonesia and we can race them to the end, if it's going to be gold or silver, then silver is okay for me as well. But just make sure that nothing is free, and we're going to race them. And of course, next year we have Olympics again, the qualification for Olympics again. So yeah, it's an ongoing. it's just ongoing. Well, of course, we haven't heard the new rules of the IOC yet. If the rules are going to be like they were last time, you can only qualify 2 persons. I mean, it's impossible. They just make the rules so that you cannot. Of course, this is only through the Asian qualification. What we need to do is we need to qualify a boat through Asian qualification, but we need to make sure that we have boats in the normal qualification. So we need to make sure that we have boats that can at least fight for qualification. It's going to be tough, but we tried it before. We came close, but that was with lightweight men. Now we have to make sure that we have crews in the open categories and try to, not only fight in Asian qualification, but fight for more than one boat. And that's the only way to do it is through World Championships, which is going to be tough. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. Well, it's definitely not the rain, because it's crazy rain now. We can only train before 12, because then it's just like mayhem and rain going down us. No, I think the thing I like most, it's a lot, so I have to choose one. Like when I go to work every morning, I'm on my bike or on my motorbike, and it's like, I mean, we live here in the mountains near Bandung, and it's so pretty here. I mean, it's like this tropical, idealistic dream country. And all I do is people coming up to me and saying, hello, mister, or what is your name? And I'm just waving and smiling and saying, hi, Pagi. And the positive, like this positive feeling I start my day with. I mean, if you're in Europe and it's dark and you go outside, even in your car, and it's cold and everybody's like angry, and then you're here and everybody's just happy and smiling, and the nature and the surroundings are so nice. Just give me a nice of kopi tubruk, and then I'm as happy as I can be.